Tubers, Tibets, and my colorful collection of crazy people. The video that you're about to watch, should you actually watch it, was cut short. The reason it was cut short at the end is because the guest that was participating had a medical episode that needed to be addressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this part one of part two. I want to go ahead and put it up and see what you think of it. And in the future, I'll get together with this guest once again, and we will finish up our interview. So here you go. All right, so Rob, you're how old?
I'm 30 years old.
30 entire years old. How have those 30 years been so far?
Not the greatest.
Not the best. Let's start at the beginning.
Sounds good.
You were born. Let's talk about your birth.
So that wasn't good either. But I was born a premature baby, 24 weeks premature. I was considered a miracle baby, and I had a twin brother that passed away 5 months after we were born.
Okay. And you were in the hospital?
Yes, I was in the hospital for months. I'm not quite sure. I would assume at least a couple of months.
Okay.
Just to get me
get
me ready.
Get you medicated,
Yeah.
get you fixed up.
Get me fixed up and
ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
What was the side effect, though, of being a preemie baby? Why are you wearing those sunglasses?
So I'm legally blind, and I had I wouldn't say a lot of health issues, but had my eyes, and then I had some other surgery when I was a baby that they ended up removing some of my colon, and
As a baby?
As a baby. And other than that, that was it for the most part, as I know of.
Okay.
But,
and go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So that's kind of the start of life.
Yeah.
And then what was life like at home with your mom and your dad?
So growing up, my dad left when I was 5 years old. He basically ended up getting a new family and leaving me and my mom. My mom wasn't the greatest growing up. She did drugs and alcohol, and she ended up actually leaving me a few times, and had a bunch of loser boyfriends, and that wasn't good as is. And went through a lot of abuse and abandonment issues, trust issues. And,
How old were you when your father left?
I was 5 years old.
And you've talked to him since, or no?
Not really, on and off. Maybe once a year for my birthday, if that. Now it's not much.
How long has it been since you've heard from him?
Over a year.
Okay. And did you ever understand why he left?
Not necessarily. I'm assuming, maybe it was from my mom and him having issues. Maybe even for me, but he never straight out told me why.
All right. So you were born premature. You were born visually impaired.
Yes.
At the age of 5, your father left.
Yep.
What was life like with you and your mom?
It wasn't the greatest. Like I said, she did drugs, had loser boyfriends. She even went to jail a few times, and I ended up getting left alone all the time, or even abandoned for some times. And when she went to jail, I ended up actually moving in with my aunts a few times.
So social services never got involved?
Yes, kind of, but not. I never went to a group home or anything. But
okay.
If they would have if my aunts never took me in.
I get it. Okay. So what was it like with your aunts?
It was great.
They were okay?
Yeah, they took care of me. Brought me to school, clothed me, had a roof over my head.
Uh-huh. How long would you stay with them?
My first aunt, I was believe over. It felt like it was a year, I believe.
Okay.
And then my second aunt was 6 months.
So it was kind of like whenever your mom got in trouble, it was like pass the potato.
Basically.
Let's put Rob over here. Let's put Rob over there.
Yep. Dad never took a part of owning up or taking me in himself. So.
What I think, do you think that you were a preemie baby because your mother was using and drinking when she
Yes.
was pregnant?
Yes, I
I
believe
think so.
Yeah.
That's usually the result.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens when a woman drinks or uses during her pregnancy. And you have an older brother.
Yes, I do.
She was married before,
Yep.
divorced, and then she got with your father, had you. What was your older brother like?
He was okay for the most part. I mean, growing up, how big brothers are, always picked on me or made fun of me, bullied me. Well, not bullied me, how big brothers always are.
Yeah, they roughhouse with
Yeah.
you. I understand. What were kids like when you were in school?
It wasn't the best experience. Growing up, I was always picked on, made fun of. Ended up doing special classes too, and I never had any friends really. And I kept to myself and just did everything alone basically. Even in school, for recess, played by myself. If I even went out for recess, I had maybe one or two friends, but that was it. Throughout throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school.
How did you do in school as a kid? Did you good grades or bad grades?
I did good for the most part. For my knowledge, I graduated.
Yeah, yeah. Could you operate? I got to tell you, you operate at a higher level than most people do. I haven't spent a ton of time with you. We just met, 2 weeks ago or something like that, whatever it was, maybe longer. I don't know.
Yep.
You were actually part of John Harper's support group.
Yep.
And I had no idea when you were in that group, while you were in America, that you were anything about you. I didn't know anything about him. It was just a name. He volunteered to offer emotional and support to a guy named John Harper that was on my channel. You joined that group.
Yep,
That's to me just speaks volumes about his character. So let's get back to the bad news, I guess. But it's reality, and it's life, and a lot of times life gets very, very messy.
It does, for
And
sure.
yours has been messy. So now let's fast forward, say, to when you were a teenager, like 16, 17, 18.
Okay.
What was that all about?
So I ended up doing drugs. I smoked weed and ended up drinking, considered an alcoholic. That went bad. Ended up getting in trouble with the law even. Got a disorderly conduct and did 1 year probation and even did some jail time even. And
the jail time was interesting
Yeah.
because you and I talked about that the other day. And what happened, I'll just give you the short end of it, was when he got sentenced, they said, okay, you can either go to jail or you can go to rehab, right? That
Yep.
was your choice.
Gave me two options.
Okay, and so naturally he said rehab. Who wouldn't? But they didn't have a bed available.
Yeah.
And so you had to cool your heels in jail for how long?
Yeah, I ended up doing about three and a half weeks.
Good Lord.
Almost a
So
month.
you're 5'3", you're legally blind, and you're put in jail with a bunch of guys.
Yep.
What was that like?
All I could tell you guys, they do not care about anything. It's not like how it is in the TV or in the movies or TV shows. Some of it is though. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I heard fights mostly every day.
Yeah.
I got lucky. I was in a small jail.
Okay.
And I didn't get messed with much really. And the guys I was with there was like 5 guys, 6 guys. And they treated me good, decent for the most part.
So you had prison inmates that actually showed some heart and compassion.
Yeah.
They saw you as a little fish. They knew you'd get eaten alive if
Basically.
the weirdos got a hold of
Yeah.
you, and they protected you.
Yep. And I mean, even myself had to stand my ground. Don't take any crap, and it's not fun. I definitely learned my lesson.
Did you?
Yes. Never been back since.
Sometimes it's stuff like that gives a guy a wake-up call.
It definitely did. Yes.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah. And
So anyway,
that
you
was-
went to rehab.
Yeah. And that was all from drinking.
All from drinking.
Yes.
All right, so if you hadn't have been drinking, you wouldn't have been in trouble. You would never have gone to jail. You would never have had to make the choice. That was all you could account to is for alcohol.
Yep.
And then you went to rehab for 30 days. And did that cure you?
Actually, it was actually 45 days inpatient, and then they had a aftercare program. But I did complete the inpatient and half of the aftercare. I didn't complete the full program, but I was basically forced to. So I didn't want to get sober, but I did it just just to
Get to the court thing.
Get the court thing off my back and end the probation, and which I did.
Okay.
And right after I started drinking again, and
Okay.
that goes on for another about 2-3 years after that, and that was when I really started drinking. And I got, one day I got tired of being sick and tired, as they say, and
Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
yep, losing jobs, having no money, being broke. Even my brother, my mom started to hate me, and
What was your personality like? What were you like as a human being when you got drunk?
I was an asshole.
Really?
They called me trouble at the bars, basically.
Wow. Well, you
So-
probably have a pretty damn good chip on your shoulder, and I kind of, for the first time, got to say I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a tough life, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You were born without vision. You're small in stature, so you got picked on a lot.
Basically.
Your mother was a druggie, alcoholic. You were shipped from home to home. What else? Let's see. You picked up drugs and alcohol, which doesn't surprise me one bit. That's what people who are depressed and unhappy with their life, people who drink a lot, I think, and use a lot of drugs, want to escape a reality.
Yes.
And their reality is so ugly that anything is better. So they turn to a pipe, or they turn to a needle, or they turn to a bottle, whatever it is they turn to, because they don't like them, and they don't like the way they feel, or they don't like the way they're thinking. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly.
Does that
Yep.
fit the bill?
Perfect UT.
Okay, because I've been there and I've done that. So I'm speaking from experience also. And you got sober, whatever, on the age of 20?
21-ish.
21.
Yep.
And how did you get sober?
So I got tired of being a loser, basically, and I checked myself into treatment by myself. Did a 45-day program, stayed sober, and within 6 months after I got out, I completely changed my life. And to this day, I'm over 6 years sober now.
If you're watching this and you heard that statement, if you've hung in there this long with us, push the thumbs up button. Not for me, but for Rob. I want to count those thumbs up. And the thumbs up on this video are dedicated to Rob, 6 years sober. It also bears out, from what I know about addiction, which is quite a bit because I've been around it most of my life also, is that you cannot force someone into sobriety. They have to hit the proverbial bottom.
Yes.
One day they got to wake up and be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you can drag them, just like you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. They can sit through 40 rehab programs, and it doesn't mean a thing. They can be forced to go to AA or NA or whatever. But if they're forced to go, but it's when you made that decision yourself, that was the point of no return for your sobriety.
Yep.
And that was like, it was your idea, you wanted it, you got it, and that's the first step, is realizing I got a problem, I want to change, I don't like this anymore, I'm going to do something about it. So
Yep.
my proverbial hat is tipped to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And believe me, it wasn't easy. I mean, I wouldn't say I get cravings, but I mean, they're, ups and downs still. So,
Today,
even today.
I think that lasts forever. People get on me for smoking, and I did quit smoking once for 2 years. And then when my first wife died suddenly from a brain embolism, I walked into a house, there was a cigarette in an ashtray, and I picked it up and started smoking it, just like I'd never smoked before. Anyway, but this ain't about me. But about the addiction, so you still struggle with that a little bit.
I mean, I've never relapsed, but I mean, I never got tempted to go pick up a bottle or
Okay.
go drink again, but, it's always there, but I'm myself a lot stronger, and I know if I do ever do that again, it will just go downhill
Okay.
straight from the point, right from there.
All right. Well, one day at a time, as they say.
Exactly.
And then what happened to you 4 years ago when you were
So,
26?
I actually got diagnosed with a autoimmune disease called Crohn's disease.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Yeah.
So what happened with the Crohn's disease?
So I ended up one day I had complete stomach pain. I didn't know what was going on, so I checked myself into the ER. They did a bunch of scans, MRI, CT scans, and I ended up finding out that I had Crohn's disease. They officially diagnosed me with it, and a year after that, I ended up getting a major surgery. They ended up removing most of my small intestines from it. I was having stomach pain again, and checked myself in the ER, and I was unaware, and literally a month later, I didn't know I was going to leave, and I had emergency surgery.
Wow.
And ended up getting that happen, and after that it took me about 8 months to recover from that, and since then now it's been manageable for the most part, but
So
it's
you were how old then? 26 or 27?
20, yep, around there, yep.
Okay, so you've been diagnosed for 4 years now with
Yes.
it. They did the retraction surgery with your small intestine.
Yes.
And is there a cure for Crohn's?
No cure.
Or treatment?
There's, for all I know, no, but I'm on medicine that basically slows down the process.
Okay. So you have that shipped to you once a month or once every 2 weeks?
Once a month. I get
Once a month. You
I'm
get
on,
2 doses?
Yep, I'm on a medicine called Humira. It looks like an EpiPen basically, and I give myself an injection in my leg every 2 weeks.
Okay. And so you qualified for disability.
Yes.
And what is it? You didn't qualify though because of the Crohn's disease.
No, they did not qualify me for that. They qualified me for my eyes.
Okay, so you're legally blind. You can see like how much out of one eye?
A few inches out of my right
A few
eye.
inches out of your right eye. If anybody deserves to be receiving disability, it's you. And but the issue you're having here in the Philippines, and we'll get to your voyage here in a minute, but on the same topic of your medicine, you get the medicine for free, but it costs $350
Just to ship it.
just to ship it. So, I don't know. I want to try to investigate and address that. And if anybody watching this, if you're still with us by now, if you have any ideas, he gets it shipped to his mom in the States, and then she sends it out here. And what carrier does she use?
We go through FedEx.
FedEx. Okay. So we're looking for options, and I suggested Johnny Air, but I don't know. We'll look into it. So, but we'll just leave it at that. We don't want to belabor it. But that takes a pretty good chunk of your disability.
Yes, it does.
However, you kind of had, well, I won't put words in your mouth. How did the Philippines get on your radar? You're only 30. I mean, I think it's great because I'm seeing younger and younger and younger people coming out here. I think that's due to the digital nomad phenomenon, where guys can work online. They're 30 years old, 40 years old, whatever, and they don't need to be in an office. They could all they need is an internet connection. So they're coming out here for various reasons.
Can we
I'm sorry, what?
pause it real quick? I need to use the bathroom.
Yeah.